also, it's her second year. And like now being on her team and like seeing it, I'm like, what are people doing? Like, actually, it's just too much. And like, it's just, I'm over it. And if I'm saying it,
did you see that when DB came back and played for us, that they got mad that our fan base was booing her?
I don't believe in booing former players unless they left on like some type.
This right here is the moment Sophie Cunningham shattered a decades-old playbook that's been quietly running the WNBA storylines. What started as a chill podcast convo about DeWanna Bonner's messy exit just exploded into something way bigger, and the old-school media gatekeepers are losing it.
DB, because like DB was one of my vets when I was in Phoenix, and then we gathered here into Indiana, and like it was kind of a surprise that she was signed to Indiana anyway, and so we'll take her in a heartbeat. Like, she's a Hall of Famer, she's a hell of a basketball player, can score from anywhere on the court.
They don't want you to notice what just happened. Sophie proved that players like her, Caitlin Clark, and the whole Indiana Fever squad don't need ESPN, The Athletic, or the league's hand-picked media favorites to push their own stories. She swerved past every outdated channel, went straight to the fans, and pulled in more real engagement than most sports reporters can touch in a whole year. For an industry that's built on being the middleman between players and the public, that's not just a problem. That's a straight-up threat to their survival. Drop a spicy Sophie in the comments if you're riding with her. Before we break down how Sophie just ripped open the cracks in the WNBA's media machine, imagine what this league would look like if players fully owned their narratives. No biased filters, no anti-Clark PR spin, no agenda-pushing drama between teammates just to get clicks.
I'm still rooting for her. Like, I want her to end her career and be happy, but I also think that like it's okay to be professional about it and like send a text to your teammates. Send a text and be like, hey, like, love you guys, or you don't even have to say love you guys, just like, hey, sorry this didn't work out, good luck, da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to handle that.
What Sophie pulled off goes way beyond Bonner's drama. We're talking about the start of a whole new era, an era that could flip the power on who gets to decide the story in women's basketball. And honestly, it might never go back. For years, the legacy sports media built walls around WNBA coverage, deciding who got the mic and which stories fit the brand. But Sophie just proved those walls aren't made of stone. They're basically soggy tissue paper ready to fall apart. One raw, unfiltered podcast episode was all it took to show how weak the system really is.
I went from, I think, like
followers, yeah,
350,000 and like maybe 200,000 on TikTok.
You had 200,000 on TikTok a month ago?
No.
Before the fight.
Before the fight, and then I had like 350 on 100,000 on Instagram. Over the night, or over like a day and a half, over 1 million on both. Insane. This is coming from me though, dude. I got tired of seeing myself.
I get it.
And I love myself.
Oh, I get it.
I love myself.
And now, every big sports outlet is scrambling to lock down player deals before they lose control of the narrative for good. The red flag was in the numbers. Sophie's quietly stacked over 1.6 million followers on TikTok and 1.1 million on Instagram, bigger than the combined reach of half the league's so-called insider reporters. And she built that audience while ESPN was out here acting like Caitlin Clark's record-breaking nights weren't even news. Here's the wild part. Sophie didn't climb to that level by bowing to the old guard. She did it by speaking the fans' language. Real hoops heads get unapologetic. They get competitive. They get real. While other players worked overtime to stay wrapped in a safe, polished PR bubble, Sophie went straight to the people, giving them what ESPN's safe for broadcast sound bites never could. Raw authenticity. That's the exact moment the power flipped.
She got to Indiana and she just like really wasn't happy. And like, I want people to be happy. So that's why I'm kind of like neutral on this one, which a lot of people are surprised about. She's towards the end of her career. So like, she deserves her flowers. She deserves to be happy. But I also think that if you're going to leave, like, you're going to have to expect getting booed. Like,
was there explanation when it happened? No. Not even privately? Yeah, I mean, okay. That's tough. And yeah, okay. Well, I did say what? Unless you leave on some you type shit, and that's what that is, so.
Yeah.
She didn't slip her info to a reporter. She didn't package it for The Athletic. She didn't even throw a teaser on Twitter. Nah. She sat down with her Show Me Something co-host and dropped a truth bomb that spun the Bonner saga on its head. No editor, no spin, no corporate script, just uncut, straight-up truth for anyone who wanted to hear it. Back in the day, if a player knew about locker room drama or a shady exit, it would leak to a beat reporter, get cleaned up, watered down, and served to the public on the media's terms. Timing, controlled. Framing, controlled. Impact, controlled. Sophie looked at that and basically said, "Yeah, no thanks." She told it herself, and told it better than any outsider ever could, because she was right there living it. She had the receipts, the context, and the platform to drop it without begging for anyone's approval. A level of freedom the establishment media definitely doesn't want Caitlin Clark or any Fever player to have.
Good, well-known people in our league. I'm not discrediting them. Like, we have a lot of badasses in our league.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah to that. I'm all for that. But when people try to argue that she's not the face of our league,
Yeah.
or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as shit.
Yeah.
You're literally.
And here's the real power move. Sophie's podcast isn't some mic in the basement setup. It's backed by Colin Cowherd's sports media giant, The Volume. That's the first real crossover between a WNBA player's voice and mainstream sports media muscle. And trust me, they didn't sign her as a charity project or to hand out some token support women's sports badge. They signed her because they saw what ESPN still refuses to admit. Player-driven storytelling crushes safe, sterile coverage every single time. That deal alone screams one thing loud and clear. WNBA stars don't need to stay boxed into the women's sports corner anymore. They can walk straight into the big arena, grab the mic, and feed a bigger, hungrier audience that's done protecting the old guard and ready to hear the truth. Sophie's success is about to wake up the rest of the league.
Is ever
Who's that?
had. Her name rhymes with Schmaitlin.
Heartland?
Yeah. What has that been like, seeing her not only kind of transform a league, but also just be like,
No,
is that fair to say?
not even just the league, but like
The
women's
sport?
basketball as a whole around the
Yeah.
world. No, I think it's awesome. I think it's so funny because she's like 22, 23 years old, and the whole
Players are realizing they don't need media middlemen. And that's exactly why the old guard is starting to sweat. Word is, major sports networks are now scrambling to sign WNBA players for their own shows. Why? Because Sophie just proved fans will pick raw, unfiltered player content over ESPN's safe, corporate-approved storylines every single time. She's breaking the league's unspoken protect the vets code. The one that says you never criticize the inner circle, never pull back the curtain on politics, and never give fans a reason to question the so-called sacred cows. Sophie looked at that fake agreement and called it exactly what it is: broken. She told the truth about Bonner's messy exit, not because it was easy or safe, but because it was real. And that's exactly the kind of honesty new WNBA fans, especially Caitlin Clark's massive base, have been begging for while the old media stayed scared to touch it. That fiery defense of Caitlin Clark?
you have seen players in our league try to like toughen up Caitlin. We call her CC. For even when I wasn't on her team, like I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of like, no, we're gonna prove her, we're gonna show her what the W really is. You know what I mean? And like, I get it to a certain extent. And like every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're gonna treat them. But
Right.
there's just
That was Sophie talking directly to the very fans the league's media machine has been pushing away for months. While legacy reporters wrapped Clark's story in cautious spin and hollow, give her time takes, Sophie went right for it, straight up calling the critics dumb as hell and meaning every word. It wasn't just authentic, it was calculated genius. Sophie locked in on the league's fastest growing, most passionate fan base, Clark's Army, and spoke their language, not the stale, scripted jargon of the establishment. She chose growth over gatekeeping, and her engagement numbers prove it was the right move. The old school sports press loves when players stick to those clean, sponsor-approved quotes, because it keeps them as the essential interpreters. But when Sophie speaks directly and unapologetically, that entire middleman layer becomes useless. Fans don't need a reporter to explain her meaning. She says it clear, and everyone gets it. That alone makes traditional journalists nervous. Because if Sophie and Caitlin can reach millions, grow huge followings, and own their stories without the gatekeepers.
And you know way better than me,
Yeah.
but like, it just feels like people are jealous of this new little wave of.
they are, but I
rookies.
just hate that because like This is what we've always wanted as a league. So like, who cares who gets the credit? And if you're smart, you're making money off of them.
Yeah.
Like, you are literally making money from the viewership.
And why bully the person who is like not 100% responsible, but like has a huge role in growing your sport?
Dude, and it literally like pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
Then what exactly are those gatekeepers even selling anymore? Their whole business model was built on controlled access. They had the relationships and platforms players supposedly needed. Sophie just proved that was a myth all along. And this shift isn't just about one player finding her voice. It's about setting a whole new standard for how every WNBA player connects with fans. Now, supporters expect raw, unfiltered honesty, not the cookie-cutter PR answers that used to pass as normal. Those safe, polished responses, fans see them for what they are now, fake and corporate. Other players are watching Sophie's numbers, seeing the power she's built, and asking themselves why they're still letting gatekeepers water down their words when they could speak directly to the people. The game has flipped completely. Here's the prediction keeping editors up at night. Within 6 months, at least a handful of big-name WNBA players will launch their own shows following Sophie's cut out the middleman blueprint. The proof is right there. Sophie didn't just put a crack in the WNBA's media machine, she put a sledgehammer through it. She exposed the truth. The whole thing was fragile from the jump. That system only survived because players believed they needed traditional coverage more than traditional coverage needed them.
I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What call are you like bugged out?
All of them.
Most? Everything?
Like, it's just like they're just so inconsistent. Like, that's my thing. Like, if you're on the other team and you're gonna be finding the shit out of me,
yeah,
cool. But let me do it to
Didn't
you.
let you, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Want
Like,
consistency then.
yeah, like just give. And I think that's players across the league and like new fans across the country. Like, everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not gonna.
Sophie smashed that illusion wide open and proved that a direct, authentic connection to fans is worth way more than any scripted corporate safe soundbite. And here's what the old guard never got. Real sports fans aren't here for polite exchanges and vanilla interviews. They show up for rivalry, for competition, for emotion. For years, WNBA coverage has been scrubbed into this bland, everyone respects everyone narrative just to dodge controversy. Sophie flipped that on its head, showing that conflict pulls in the crowd and real emotion builds loyalty. She turned tension into traction and criticism into credibility. And from a business angle, that's a complete game changer.
There's a couple girls in there
Dumb
too.
question. Like, if someone were to like say someone called men's basketball their whole life and then went over to women's, would they be expected to call the game differently? Just given like the style and like physicality and stuff like that?
What Sophie's doing will end up rewriting WNBA contracts. Media appearance clauses, social media restrictions, sponsor obligations, all of it is now up for debate. Because here's the thing, if Sophie can reach 1.6 million people directly with no PR filter, why would she agree to be silenced? If her truth bombs get more engagement than any polished talking point, why on earth would she stick to the script? The balance of power has officially flipped, and now the scramble's on. Some outlets will adapt, loosening the leash to give players more freedom. Others will cling to that old school access journalism, leaning on team pressure to keep stars in check. But the smartest players in the game, they'll pivot completely, partnering with the athletes instead of trying to control them. And make no mistake,
The thing that I have the biggest issue about the female sides of refs is like, they're so emotional. Like the guys, no, the NBA officials, like the NBA players fuck those officials like no other.
Yeah.
Like I've worked broadcast, I've been to games, I'm friends with these people. They fuck them.
Yeah.
And the only person that I've ever seen able to like mother a ref on the women's side is Diana Taurasi.
And they like take it.
Yeah, they had to.
Yeah, they have
and
to.
like, but when she's probably one of the worst people that I've seen.
this isn't just a WNBA shakeup. Sophie's model could flip any pro sport on its head. Direct, unfiltered athlete voices will always beat the watered-down corporate stuff. When the story's strong, Fans will take the word of someone who was in the locker room over a polished column from someone who wasn't there. Every single time. The old way treated players as sources and fans as passive consumers. Sophie's way? Players become creators and fans become part of the conversation. That's the core reason the old media is in full-blown panic mode right now. And here's the nightmare for them. Sophie's influence isn't tied to her stat line. Her platform lives and breathes independent of her box score.
See that when DB came back and played for us, that they got mad that our fan base was booing her?
I don't believe in booing former players unless they left on like some you type shit.
She's proved you don't have to be an MVP to be a media powerhouse. You just have to be authentic, engaging, and bold enough to speak straight to your audience. That's a full rewrite of the media hierarchy, where only the biggest stars used to have the mic. Yeah, the Bonner drama might have lit the fuse, but Sophie turned it into a whole new playbook for athlete-to-fan connection. Being real, even if it ruffles feathers, builds more loyalty and interest than the most polished press release ever could. She cut out the translators and went straight to the fans who actually care. The outlets that adapt and team up with athletes will survive. The ones that don't, they'll vanish into irrelevance. Sophie's not just riding a wave, she's creating the storm. What started as one fearless podcast moment is now a blueprint every ambitious player is studying.
Look at Bonner. And Cunningham's kind of got that innocent who me grin going, and nobody's buying it.
Wow, what a steal by Bonner, stepping right into it. And Sophie knows that doesn't want to create anything more. A little holding on. You think this is becoming a rivalry?
Oh, they're letting her have it now. They gave Cunningham a big ovation.
She's shown that you don't need to be the league's chosen star to own the conversation. You just need the guts to speak without permission and the smarts to do it where the fans are already watching. And make no mistake, this isn't just about clapping back at critics or spilling tea on locker room drama. Sophie's building a media empire in real time, one that lives outside the WNBA's control. She's made herself the go-to voice for unfiltered truth, and fans are rewarding her with loyalty that no corporate campaign could ever buy. The ripple effect is already here. Rookies, vets, even players in other leagues are watching closely.
I mean, it sucks, right? You don't ever want to see anyone be injured on any team. I feel like there's been a lot of injuries this year in the W, harsh ones, I think. And, it's just another one. And Sid is still the heartbeat of our team. She's going to be okay. Our team's going to be okay. And again, it's just another hurdle that we're going to.
They see her numbers. They see the headlines. They see how she's flipping power away from the press and straight into the hands of the people actually on the court. That's dangerous for anyone still clinging to the old system. Because once players taste this kind of freedom, there's no going back. No more waiting for a reporter to decide if your story fits the brand. No more playing nice to keep access. The mic is in the players' hands now, and Sophie Cunningham just proved she knows exactly how to use it. This isn't a trend, it's a takeover.
Like, I want her to end her career and be happy, but I also think that, it's okay to be professional about it and, send a text to your teammates. Send a text and be like, hey, love you guys, or you don't even have to say love you guys, just hey, sorry this didn't work out, good luck, da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? There's a way to handle that.
Sophie Cunningham didn't just step outside the old media machine. She tore the doors off and invited every other player to walk right through. And now that the path is open, the league can't close it without looking like they're silencing their own stars. The truth is, once fans get used to hearing directly from players, no filter, no spin, they're not going back to the watered-down version. The energy is different when it's coming from someone who's been in the locker room taking the hits and lived the drama.
Rimming out. Cunningham picks up the board. Here she comes. Sophie steps into the three.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Is loving being in Indianapolis. She loves this team. She's feeling it on these.
Cunningham hesitates. Ball on the deck. Sweet dish inside.
That's why Sophie's words land harder than any polished press conference. They're real, and real always wins. And here's the kicker. This is bigger than the Bonner fallout, bigger than defending Caitlin Clark, bigger than one podcast. Sophie has rewritten the rulebook on who controls the story in women's basketball. She's shifted the center of power from corporate boardrooms and media offices to the hands of the athletes themselves. And once that shift happens, there's no putting it back. The WNBA is staring down a future where the most influential voices aren't the ones with press passes. They're the ones with sneakers on the floor and a direct line to millions of fans. Sophie didn't just change the conversation, she took control of it. And now, the rest of the league is playing catch-up. Sophie Cunningham just flipped the power dynamic in women's basketball, and everyone felt it.
Because like DB was one of my vets when I was in Phoenix, and then we gathered here into Indiana, and like it was kind of a surprise that she was signed to Indiana anyway. And so we'll take her in a heartbeat. Like, she's a Hall of Famer, she's a hell of a basketball player, can score from anywhere on the court.
This isn't some one-off viral moment that fades in a week. This is the start of a player-led media revolution that could rewrite the entire relationship between athletes, fans, and the press. Think about it. For decades, the story only got told if the media wanted it told. Now, Sophie's proven that the players can own the mic, drive the conversation, and reach millions without waiting for permission. That's not just a win for her. That's a blueprint for every athlete who's tired of having their words twisted or watered down. And if you think the league, the old school reporters, and the corporate sponsors aren't paying attention, trust me, they're watching every move.
Did you see that when DB came back and played for us, that they got mad that our fan base was booing her?
I don't believe in booing former players unless they left on like some you type shit.
Because they know the second more players follow Sophie's lead, the old gatekeeping model is done for good. The question now isn't if this changes the game, it's how fast. And with Sophie already leading the charge, you can bet we're about to find out a whole lot sooner than they'd like. If you're riding with Sophie's unapologetic truth and want to see more players cut out the middleman, drop a WNBA in the comments, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss when the real stories drop. Click the video on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next one. And here's the wild part. This isn't even Sophie at full speed yet. If what we've seen so far is just the warm-up, imagine what happens when she really leans into this new lane she's built. We're talking bigger guests, bolder stories, and even more moments that the league's PR machine won't touch with a 10-foot pole. Because here's the truth.
Really wasn't happy, and like I want people to be happy, so that's why I'm kind of like neutral on this one, which a lot of people are surprised about. She's towards the end of her career, so like she deserves her flowers, she deserves to be happy. But I also think that if you're gonna leave, like you're gonna have to expect getting booed. Like,
was there explanation when it happened? No, not even privately. Yeah, I mean, okay, that's tough. And yeah, okay. Well, I did say what? Unless you leave on some fuck you type shit, and that's what that is, so.
Once a player figures out how to turn authenticity into currency, there's no ceiling. The audience doesn't shrink, it multiplies. The loyalty doesn't fade, it deepens. And the message? It travels a whole lot faster than any polished, approved for broadcast narrative ever could. That's why this isn't just Sophie Cunningham news. This is a wake-up call for every athlete in every sport who's been told to stay in line for the sake of the brand. Sophie's proving that your brand is stronger when it's built on your own voice, not somebody else's script. The next 6 months are going to be chaos, in the best way possible. Networks will scramble, players will experiment, and fans will finally start getting the uncut, behind-the-scenes access they've been starving for. Sophie didn't just break the mold, she melted it down and started building something new.
Sably, tough shot, wasn't square, and here comes Indiana. Cunningham, another three. Oh my goodness, Sophie Cunningham!
And the smart ones, they'll be lining up to join her before the rest of the game even realizes it's over. What we're watching right now is the birth of athlete-owned sports media, and Sophie Cunningham is the face of it, whether she meant to be or not. The old guard has two options: evolve and actually offer players something they need, or watch their relevance vanish, while stars like Sophie and Caitlin Clark build their own direct-to-fan empires. The WNBA media landscape from even 6 months ago? gone. It just hasn't had the funeral yet. Sophie proved that when players control the mic, authenticity will always crush corporate spin. And now,
just what does it mean to come back here and be able to play or just as an opponent tonight?
Yeah, AZ was good to me, but I'm way happier where I'm at now. It was good to see people. It was fun to play in front of some fans. But for me, I'm way happier in Indiana.
every athlete knows they don't have to play the old access game ever again, which is exactly why the traditionalists are in full-blown panic mode. Their system thrived on fake scarcity and controlled access. Sophie didn't just challenge that, she obliterated it. Show your support for Sophie by dropping a WNBA in the comments, smashing that like button, subscribing, and turning on all notifications so you never miss the real stories. Click the video on your screen right now, and we'll see you in the next one.